Okay, so have you noticed this? AI music. It's like
Uh,
everywhere all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's really exploding. I mean, it
Mhm.
seems like every day there's a new article about it or a new AI music tool being released.
And for good reason, right? Like this stuff is really cool. It's changing everything we thought we knew about how music is made.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And that's what we're going to be diving into today. We're going to be talking about AI music composition and specifically looking at this company called Suno AI.
Yeah, Suno AI. They're the ones that are kind of making waves, right? With this whole AI music creation platform they've developed.
Yeah, they are. They're making it possible for pretty much anyone to create music using AI, even if you have zero musical training.
Okay, so I actually read this blog post by Christian Antonsen from Digital Cafe, and he really breaks it down well. So we're going to be kind of using that as our jumping off point for today's deep dive.
Sounds good. Yeah, Antonsen always has some really interesting insights.
So to kind of set the stage here, what we're talking about is AI that can compose original music.
Right. Right. So think of it like this. You've got this software that can analyze massive amounts of data about music,
Mm-hmm.
like different genres, melodies, harmonies, rhythms, all that stuff.
Okay.
And then it uses that data to create new compositions based on whatever parameters you give it.
So I can be like, hey, I want a song that sounds like a mix of Beethoven and Billie Eilish, and it'll just make it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
You can get really specific with the style, the instrumentation, the tempo, all of that.
Yeah.
And the AI will generate a composition that fits those criteria.
That's insane. I mean, it's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. It's like having a digital Mozart at your fingertips.
It is pretty mind-blowing.
Hmm.
And that's what's so exciting about this technology. It has the potential to completely change the way we create and consume music.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty here. How does Suno AI actually work? Like, what do you actually do to use it?
So it's actually pretty user-friendly. You don't need to be a tech whiz to figure it out.
Right.
Basically, you interact with the platform by giving it certain inputs.
Yeah.
Like you might choose a genre or a mood or even input a melody that you came up with. And then the AI takes those inputs and uses them to generate a composition. So you don't need to know anything about music theory or how to play an instrument.
So I could literally say, I want a song that sounds like 80s synth pop mixed with like a spaghetti western soundtrack, and it would do that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just one example. You can get as creative as you want with it. You can experiment with different genres, different instruments, different tempos, you name it. The possibilities are pretty much endless.
That is so wild. So Antonsen talks about how this could be a game changer for composers who are on deadlines, you know, like for film scores or video game music.
Yeah, totally. I mean, imagine you're a filmmaker and you need a specific piece of music for a scene.
Yeah.
You could just give the AI some parameters like suspenseful, minor key, string orchestra, and it would generate something that fits perfectly.
And you wouldn't have to spend weeks or months working with a composer and going back and forth on revisions. You could just have it done instantly.
Exactly. It could really streamline the whole process.
That is revolutionary. Okay, but here's the big question, and I think Antonsen gets at this too. Is this even really music? Like, can an AI truly capture the emotion, the human element that makes music so powerful?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's definitely something that a lot of people are debating right now.
Right, because music, it's so personal. It's about expressing yourself, connecting with others, evoking emotions. Can an AI really do that?
It's a tough one. I
Yeah.
mean, on the one hand, you have people who say that AI music is just a bunch of algorithms. It's soulless. It's lacking that human touch.
And on the other hand,
You have people who are really excited about the potential of AI music. They see it as a new tool for creativity and expression. They argue that AI can help us to create music that we wouldn't be able to create on our own.
so it's like some people are scared of it and some people are excited about it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a pretty polarizing topic.
Anton Nansen makes this interesting comparison to DJs using turntables versus digital setups.
Oh, yeah, I remember that part.
Some people were like, digital DJing, that's not real DJing. But now it's its own art form, right?
It is, and it's become incredibly popular. I mean,
Right.
a lot of the biggest DJs in the world use digital setups now.
So it's like maybe we just need to give AI music a chance to evolve.
Exactly. Maybe it's not about AI replacing human musicians, but about finding ways for them to work together.
That's a really interesting thought. Like, AI could be this amazing tool that helps us to be more creative and to push the boundaries of what's possible with music.
Right. And maybe it can even help us to discover new sounds in genres that we never would have imagined before.
Okay, so let's say for a minute that AI can be a legitimate creative partner. What might that collaboration actually look like? Because the cynic in me is seeing robots on stage replacing musicians.
Well, I think it's more about augmentation than replacement. Like, imagine using AI to generate a chord progression or a melody, and then building on that with your own lyrics and your own vocal performance.
So it's like having an AI co-writer.
Yeah, exactly. You're bouncing ideas back and forth. You're using the AI as a tool to help you get past creative blocks or to explore new ideas.
That actually sounds pretty cool.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the real potential of AI music lies. It's not about replacing humans, but about giving them superpowers.
I like that. Giving them superpowers.
Because at the end of the day, I think what people really connect with in music is the human element, the emotion, the storytelling.
Right, that's what makes music so special.
And I don't think AI can ever truly replicate that.
But it can help us to enhance it, to make it
Yeah.
even more powerful.
Exactly. And that's why I think this whole AI music thing is so fascinating. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about what it means for us as humans, what it means for creativity, what it means for the future of music.
It's like we're standing on the edge of something really big here.
We are. It's like the invention of the printing press or the electric guitar. It's a paradigm shift.
Okay, so let's talk about the future then. Where do you see this all going? Like, what's your prediction for the future of AI music?
Well, I think it's safe to say that AI music is here to stay. It's not just a fad. It's going to continue to evolve and become more sophisticated.
But how? What's it going to look like?
Well, for one thing, I think we're going to see a lot more experimentation and innovation. We're going to see new genres emerge, new forms of musical expression.
So, like, AI could create music that we haven't even thought of yet.
Exactly. It could push the boundaries of what we consider to be music.
And what about the role of human musicians? Are they just going to be obsolete?
I don't think so. I think there will always be a place for human musicians. There's something special about the connection between a performer and an audience. That raw energy and emotion that you just can't get from a machine.
But couldn't AI eventually learn to replicate that? I mean, it's learning all the time, right?
Maybe. But I think there's a fundamental difference between replicating something and actually feeling it.
Like, you can program an AI to play all the right notes, but can you program it to have soul?
Exactly. And I think that's what will always set human musicians apart.
Okay, so maybe it's not about AI versus humans, but about AI and humans working together.
Right. It's about finding ways to use AI to enhance human creativity, not to replace it.
And that brings us to another point that Anton Sen raises in his blog post, the whole question of copyright and ownership.
Ah, yes. The legal gray area.
Because if an AI creates a song, who owns the rights to that song?
That's a really good question. And it's one that lawyers and policymakers are still trying to figure out.
Because traditionally, copyright law has been based on the idea of human authorship.
Right. But what happens when the author's a machine?
It's like we need a whole new set of rules.
We might. And this is something that's going to have to be addressed sooner rather than later because AI music is only going to become more prevalent.
So we need to start thinking about these things now.
We do. We need to have a conversation about the ethical implications of AI music. And we need to make sure that we're using this technology in a responsible way.
That's a great point. I mean, we don't want to just blindly embrace this new technology without thinking about the potential consequences.
Exactly. We need to be mindful of the potential risks as well as the potential benefits.
Okay, so let's talk about the benefits then, because there are a lot of them, right?
There are. I mean, for one thing, AI music has the potential to democratize music creation. It could make it possible for anyone to create music regardless of their background or resources.
And that's huge, because traditionally you've needed access to instruments, training, recording studios, all of that stuff.
Which can be really expensive and time-consuming.
Exactly. But with AI, all you need is a computer and an internet connection.
And that could open up a whole new world of possibilities for people who might not have had the opportunity to create music before.
Imagine all the amazing music that we could hear if everyone had the ability to create it.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so exciting about this technology. It has the potential to change the world in a really positive way.
Okay, so we've talked about the creative potential of AI music, the ethical considerations, the legal challenges. But what about the emotional impact?
What do you mean?
I mean, can AI music really move us in the same way that human music can? Can it make us feel joy, sadness, anger, love, all those complex emotions that music evokes in us?
That's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
And I think it's one that we're still exploring.
Because I've heard some AI music that's technically impressive, but it doesn't really make me feel anything.
I know what you mean. It's like it's missing that spark, that soul.
Exactly.
But I've also heard AI music that's really moved me. Music that's made me feel things that I didn't expect to feel.
So maybe it's just a matter of time before AI music catches up to human music in terms of emotional depth.
Maybe. Or maybe it'll never quite get there. Maybe there's something inherently human about the ability to create truly emotionally resonant music.
It's hard to say, but it's definitely something to think about.
It is. And I think it's one of the things that makes this whole topic so fascinating.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything.
We have. I think we've had a really good discussion.
And hopefully our listeners have learned a lot about AI music composition.
I hope so.
And if you're listening out there, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic.
Definitely. Head over to our website and leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the future of AI music.
Because this is just the beginning of the conversation.
It is. And it's going to be an interesting one to follow.
Absolutely. Until next time, stay curious and keep those ears open.